Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM20 All-Rounder, episode 64. So in this one, I've been waiting on that contract. And we decided to play the waiting game because I had max interest from NTT, thought for sure a contract was coming. And we're looking now at NTT's roster for next season. They're losing Ackerman and Van Avermaet. Van Avermaet retiring, age of 38 now in game. So they're losing two high-paid riders. And what they're bringing in, Michael Reese might be a decent one. I don't know about Felix Gall, but Michael Reese is definitely a decent puncher. But that's it. I mean, I only know the actual quality of one rider on the new riders coming in. But they're going from 30 down to 29. They're losing two high-paid riders and replacing it with zero high-paid riders. I think Reese might be making a decent amount, but certainly nothing compared to Van Avermaet alone. And Avermaet might only be a 72 average at the point of retirement, but he certainly wasn't when he started that contract. Van Avermaet's one of the higher paid riders in the peloton. That's leaving a pretty big hole, especially for a team that, I mean, look at that. Reguigui's third highest rated of what I know. But looking further down, they do have O'Connor, they do have Volgren, they do have Felix Gall, who we just talked about, Michael Gogol, Gibbons, so Jan Hurt. There's still plenty of quality within that team. But really surprised by kind of the lack of quality on the incoming riders compared to the outgoing riders, and they never offered a contract. And that brings us to our current team, Beat Cycling Club. 15 riders, dropping to 13 riders. A very different team for next season than what we have currently. Mobak and Luke Rowe and Timo Rusin, along with Blankart. Sinkeldam. I mean, is there any riders that I spent more time with than those five? Well, okay, Vermeldfort and Guillaume. Nobody else, though. The only returning riders are guys that I almost never rode with, other than Say and Vermeldfort. Whole bunch of new riders coming to the team, but there are some decent riders coming in. Thomas de Gent, who's very much like myself, actually, coming in, 76 overall. Definite Barradour, balanced time trialist, or balanced climber, 72s, good resistance. I mean, I'd rather have his set of attributes than my own. He's not a sprinter, but he can do a whole lot more in terms of climbing than I can. Edward Toynes coming in as an actual sprinter, but Toynes isn't that fast, but for Continental Pro team, pretty decent. You can definitely see a new direction that the team is moving away from classics with Mobak and Rowe going out towards time trialing, that's de Gent, and sprinting, that's Toynes. Little stronger in GC, it looks like, but it's the last day. It's the final day, and most of you know what that means. Forced contract. The game does not leave you abandoned. It will not let you not have a contract. And so on the final day, my current team, Beat Cycling Club, they've given me an offer, and now I have no choice but to stick with them for a third season. Oops, not what I was aiming for. I absolutely must sign a contract. But it even comes in the French still. But yeah, NTT, it's not 100% evaluation, but it was a team that was very interested, and nothing ever came up. UAE, Groupama FDJ. I'm now disappointed that I turned down at least that one. The D'Amico, didn't want to go there. Didn't want to go to a team just on the edge of the world tour where I was going to go and struggle. I like the points that staying with Beat is going to give me for a season. and it's going to give me a chance to develop a bit. And they're certainly happy with what I've done for the team and hanging on to myself as a rider. It is going to raise the team's profile a bit, and we're going to go ahead and take a look and see how much it raises the profile. But I get no choice. I mean, there is no other option. I would have taken the UAE offer had I known that those 4 choices were going to be the only ones I was going to get. I was curious to see what my profile would do for the team, and it raised it slightly. We're still 3.5 stars, no difference there. But the GC mark, where you could just see the blue, there's now a definite gap. So they've got me planted as a slightly proficient GC rider. There was no change to the time trial rating, to the sprint rating, to the cobble rating, or to the hills rating. Just ever so slightly more GC rating for the team. Actually, that is a place that I've done okay at on this series. So I'm at Perry Tour, and I've got partial to max team control here. Guillaume Say just involved in a crash, though. I was hoping on him as my main lead-out rider. Had actually taken control of keeping him in place and getting him protected. Looks like he might recover. No, I don't think he is going to recover. But let's bring it on down as we're getting into the later stages of this one. I really need to focus on preparing for the end. Large breakaway group, and we've nearly caught up to them now.
There's an attack in the group at the front.
It's unfortunate they don't register those gravel sections on here, because they could do some extra damage in the field that you wouldn't see otherwise. Peloton at the moment has split. There's only 34 riders up here. 28K to go.
The riders are in.
Yeah, see, I shouldn't be able to make my way forward through this section.
That's the end of the breakaway. The pack gave them no chance. Those guys up front aren't going to be
96 riders left.
today.
Not much climbing left to do here. Novak's going backwards at the moment. So I'm now up to full team control. Guillaume Say is never coming back. That's clear now. Luke Rose working at the front. I'm recovering my position towards the front as we're going through this little bit of a quiet period here. And I'm coming out of this in good condition, where so many riders right now are quite fatigued. Peloton's getting smaller, and not really the other way. I mean, it was yo-yoing, and oof, Rowe goes down, takes down a couple riders with him. And now it's just Vermeltfort and Mobak and I want Vermeltfort to get on my rear, and Mobak officially protect. And let's also set this up to an 89. 13.4K to go. This would be a good time to start pushing, but I only have 2 riders, and they're both very, very fatigued here, so the push is going to have to come late. Team objective for today, top 50. That's looking pretty dang easy with just 70 riders here in the Peloton, and you can see at least 2 of them are totally exhausted, as I'm about to be riding solo. I would love to attack and actually play the role of puncher. However, that was the last little hill. It's going to be flat from right now to the finish. 7K to go. Still getting that protection in the field, suddenly much slower, which is not a good thing. This is where I'd really like to attack, and there is an attack coming. Oh, I did not mean to go 99 here, but okay, we have separation for 5 riders off the front. It's already inside 4K. Niels Pollitt, Bob Jungels, Charles, and Stuyven. 3K to go. They're attacking again. And Caleb Ewan. Come on, Caleb.
the sprint, the strong men are giving their all.
Inside 1K, Ewan's going to beat me. I didn't keep up with those four in their attacks. There's going to be some other sprinters coming along. This should be a top 10, though. Jakobsen, Kristoff, they'll go by. Cockard probably go by. It looks like I might hold off Grunewagen. Energy-wise, I went when I needed to go. It was enough for a top 10. 9th place. So close to getting with those top 5 guys, but they attacked again there at that last little bit. I thought Ewan was going to try to go too, and that I was going to try to piggyback him, and then he ended up not going, so he had a little less left in the tank there at the finish than those guys. I just didn't want to be the one to waste the energy, because I knew I was going to need a little bit of red bar to try to beat somebody in the sprint. Either way, good result. Top 10, much, much better than the top 50 the team was looking for. The team that I'm still going to be with for another season. And in the final race of the season, this is the Japan Cup, where we go to wrap this year up and head on into the next. I will level up before the turn of the year, regardless of what happens today. But I have 3 levels to go before we get attribute points, so that's just going to be the first of those 3. So no fireworks coming from that front. But we make our way over this single climb that we loop around and hit over and over again. That's already 3 times down. And we have, I think that's 8 more to go? Yes, 8 more to go. So 11 laps. And that is lap number 4. Expectation today is to finish in the top 10. That's scary because that's a decent little climb that I have to hit again and again. Peter goes out the back on a crash. The pace we're going all of a sudden, I'm not sure some of these riders are going to be coming back. Not all anyway. Peter, for example, already 3 minutes behind. Peloton down to 96 riders, and yes, it is starting to yo-yo, and I am starting to struggle with the pace. Let's go ahead and bring it on down so we can focus on what is going on up here. 84 left in the Peloton, minute gap left for the break, and we are roughly halfway through this race. 75k to go in the season. Breakaway is starting to shatter due to the pace of the chase. Peloton shattering as well. If it holds like this, let's say for a moment there anyway, we were down to 40. And apparently the favorite is left behind because the front group of 4 is no more. And all of a sudden I find myself completely alone here as the only rider from the team in the Peloton. It's yo-yoing. That was surprising that I was all alone in a group of 60, and now it's 25 and Rusin's here, so that makes a lot of sense. But definitely riders getting dropped and not coming back. There's plenty of yo-yoing going on, but there's no doubt that there are fewer and fewer riders left in the Peloton. Rusin now going backwards. Just 22 left in this front group, so that top 10 is looking like a definite possibility. We have 3 more times over this climb, though, and that's going to be a struggle for me. Not sure how well I can handle 3 more times up and over this climb. Here comes the first big attack. Koos leading it. Quick response. It looks like it was a bit of a false attack. Rodriguez looking for a second like he wanted to go. Izaguirre, Hernandez up in the tempo. We're down to 20 in the group. All I have to do is beat half of them. And we're down to 2 times over the climb. Izaguirre got a little gap there, but it won't hold. He's not winning from 35k out. In fact, I would have much rather have had him stay away a bit longer because it would eliminate him. Now I have the flat rating that can definitely do more than most of these other guys, but it's the 2 climbs that worry me. If I can survive the 2 climbs, I can finish well, because I'll have a little more energy left than some of these guys, which we're down to 19 now. And I've got a little sprint to me. Not much, but a little. Enough to beat half the guys here. But it's about surviving the climb. And here we go. Penultimate time up the climb. Let's go 87 here. I'm expecting another acceleration, and here it comes. Izagira
goes onto the attack.
Okay, I'm scooting back forward again. But I do not want to attack here. Wow, he's out to 40 seconds though. Let's hope the chase begins now. Otherwise, I'm riding for second place. Team car parked in the middle of the road. Just where you do not want it to be. Down to 17. Gap's opened up almost to a minute now. Should I be attacking over the top? It looks like there's not much pace left in this group, which means my assumption is there's a lot of fatigue in these legs. I could ride off to second place just before the top of this climb, potentially. Alright, let's slow this down, because there really is not much cooperation in this group. But attacking on the climb itself, not wise for me. As a weak climber, I have a really good downhill rating though, so I can open a gap over the downhill. Alright, into the final lap. Minute 42 is the gap. I see him. I want to attack now. I'm tempted, but no, I know better, because I knew this was coming as well. I'm stuck behind Cyclist. Alright, here we go. Now we attack. Oh, come on. Attack! It's too technical. I'm not opening a gap. Okay, now I've opened a little gap. I go acrobatic. It only lasted for a split second.
But they all look ready
Alright,
to set off
cooperation.
again. 5 kilometers
Rodriguez.
to the finish line.
Cyclist, 5K, Gel. Looking at a podium potentially. 4K to go. Neither of them has contributed even once. Rodriguez is supposedly capable. It's only 15 seconds to the group behind us. And we've almost closed to the gap to the front, but now, as we're 2.5K to go, neither of them wants to work. 1.5K to go.
It's going to be very fast.
Sprint it out. Come on, I'm going to run out of energy before the end. I do. Izagira is going to hang on, take the win. I'm going to get 5th place. Rodriguez, Cyclist screwed me to get that potential 3rd. Little did they know that there was a group way too close behind us to let up. Otherwise, you potentially drop many, many places, like, say, 12th. I figured 5th place was much better than 12th. Risking 5th to potentially get 3rd versus the resulting 12th. That was more likely at that point. I opted for continue pushing.
Run, but the poor souls bringing up the rear continue to cross the line. It's a bit
but
of
yeah, 5th place. Good finish. Good end of the season. Izagira went at the right time. Holy cow, I should have gone with him. Probably could have won. I thought he was going way too soon. I mean, that was 35K out. Nobody wanted to chase. We sat up, gave him more than a minute, and he was able to hang on to it. So we're going to look at some final tallies for the season. 24 points, just 8 away from leveling up now, so turn of the month, 1st of November, that will happen. Skill point is all we're going to get for that, though. And with the last race done, Jumbo-Visma, Ineos, Ducanic, EF, Bora, and UAE at 4.5 stars. No 5-star team this season. Whole bunch of 4 stars down to Trek. And then we are right in the middle, actually upper end of Continental Pro now. Definitely a little stronger than before. You get down into some 3 stars. Boy, kind of wish I had this for my career mode team, because if this kind of index was on my career mode squad, we'd be definitely looking better, because my team would have fit in right about here this last season, and we were the last team to make it into Continental Pro. A bunch of 3.5-star teams, about 5 below me, did not make it to Continental Pro and are down in Continental. And 4 stars definitely saw a few teams, quite a few teams, down in Continental Pro. Bernal ahead of Pogacar and Soler. Cockard ahead of myself in the Continental rankings. Guillaume Say was 4th. And then in the Super Prestige, 1195. It's a similar total to what I had last season, but it's not quite where I was a season ago. I only had 3 wins this season compared to 6 the season before, but I've talked pretty extensively as to why that is. The short recap is I got better, and because I got better, I got a target on my back. And because I had a target on my back, I did not get into too many breakaways this season. I had to do it from the pack, and I'm not that great of a sprinter. Got a good flat rating, so I can hang in there and be alive late and still be in a peloton on races like that Japan Cup, but I'm not quite fast enough to beat everybody. And like what we saw there, chase group, 3 riders chasing down 2. The other 2 guys just tagged on and took a ride from me. So I'm becoming a little too strong for my own good. And that held me back score-wise this season. It was clear that I'm a better rider than I was, but my score came down. I wasn't able to take teams by surprise. Let's move on into next season, though. Almost forgot to look at the team ratings. We're 3rd as a team in the Continental rankings and 22nd in the Super Prestige. Quite a few Continental teams above us, but you can see some big-name teams. Astana, CCC, Wanty Gobert, Movistar, all down in Continental Pro currently, but obviously getting numerous invites because of their prestige. On to the 1st of January, so I set up my preseason. Of course, as always, I go for the very high preparation coming in so that I can get to and maintain my fitness throughout the season. For me, the US jersey, I'd love to get my hands on that one. Again, right? That is again, isn't it? I won it twice, didn't I? By surprise? It's so far into the series now, and with 3 active series, sometimes it's hard to keep track. By my memory, I have won that jersey a couple times. Also by my memory, that's 2 of my 12 wins. And also, according to my memory, I had 3 wins in both the first and second season. Doubled that, got 6 wins in season 3, and then had 3 wins again last season. So 3 wins in 3 of the 4 seasons. We're set to begin season number 5. Tour of Britain is my target for the end of the season. Looking at the profile, it's one where I think I could do pretty good. A 15 km time trial, I'll lose some time there. But it shouldn't be a significant amount of time. And because I'll lose time there, I would suspect I wouldn't have as big of a target on my back. And with 7 sprint stages surrounding that, guaranteed I can reach the end of all of them. And if I'm just bad enough that the Peloton's not worried about me going away, and that's the big if, but it would be nice if that was the case. If they didn't care about me going off the front, well, I've got 7 opportunities to go join a breakaway and go win all of the intermediate sprints and gain 30 seconds. Might lose a minute in the time trial, but is 30 seconds off the lead? What kind of position is that in? Is that enough for a top 10? Maybe. We'll see. And with the close of the transfer season, here are the biggest moves of the year. Jasper Philipsen going to Jumbo-Visma. Vanderpool to Jumbo-Visma. Lutsenko to Jumbo-Visma. The power vacuum that is Jumbo-Visma strikes again with a huge move this season, bringing in 3 key riders. Pedersen to a small team. Sagan leaves Jumbo-Visma. He was only there for a year, but he completely disappeared this season. Sagan went from a total powerhouse to nowhere to be seen. So he moves to Kahara. That's a steal. Wow, what a grab that is for them. Also to Jumbo-Visma, Garcia. Did I say that was a power vacuum? I really meant it. So NTT, apparently Shribar had leveled up to be a substantial rider, right up there with Ackerman. That made him about a 77. I didn't have his rating. But again, with the sad state that is NTT, losing 3 key riders and getting none in return. I was available. Anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. I'm ready to get started on our new season. Excited by that, even if it is still down in Continental Pro for one more year. There's good and bad with going up to the World Tour. That target gets a whole lot smaller at World Tour level, and I could start pulling out some wins again. But at the same time, it is kind of nice to get to play the role of team leader and actually compete head-to-head with other riders. Just not a rider that's really built for that, but it's what I prefer, the stage racer. That's my go-to. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.